Here we go. Oh, yeah,
Here
we
we
do.
are.
You're kind of like,
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, well, we're so excited to have Ashley on with Southern Girl. She became, I'm just going to tell y'all this story. You probably saw the Facebook or Instagram story, but like we went to Atlanta and we really didn't have a ton of friends there. And like she just came and like, it was like we'd been friends for 20 years. It was so much fun. And she made us feel so welcome. And so y'all are going to, it is a treat that y'all get to meet her and know her today because she is a treasure and we are just so grateful to know you. So
Oh
anyway,
my gosh. Thank you. The feeling, I mean, it was, when you just you meet somebody for the first time on that rare occasion and you're like, I've been waiting for you. Where have you been? Here it was like we were just picking up where we left off.
it's so
It really
true.
was.
Never ago, but it was so easy.
Yes.
but I have a feeling that you do that with lots of people, which is part of your gift and why everybody loves you so much. I mean, really, it's been so fun. And like, I knew you were a keeper when you said, I'm going to CVS. Do y'all want me to get anything for you? When we were in Atlanta, I was like,
Yeah. I was
that's
like,
a good
our
friend.
person. She's our
So,
people right there.
yeah, we're so thankful that you came on today. And we're so excited to hear more about your story and about Southern Girl and all that gift boxes have to give and all these beautiful
Man.
things that you've sourced and your collaboration. So why don't you start just telling us a little bit about you and how your business started?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm so happy to be here. Good morning, everybody. This is like absolutely a dream come true to talk about my number one I have kids, but this is my number one favorite subject. Talking about Southern Girl. I kid. No, but I love it so much. I've been in marketing and PR my whole life. And about 5 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm entering this glorious chapter of the 40s and I want to do, bless you, I just want to do what makes me happy and being around women in business, being around entrepreneurial energy, putting together things that make people happy, kind of like noodled about that a bit and came up with Southern Girl. And what Southern Girl does is it puts a bunch of things from around the South, from Southern brands and artists that you may or may not have heard from. We have indie brands, we have well-known brands, and we try to pick from all throughout the South. And 4 times a year, every season, when you subscribe or you give it to yourself or give it to a friend, you get a box of things you can wear, things you can eat, things for the house, things that you just not necessarily would have been in your path, in your day-to-day life, but you can't believe is just so beautiful and awesome and tastes good and smells good and it's from the South. And now we've connected you as the receiver of this box to all of the talent that's out here in the South. And you can hopefully start shopping online, people that you've now found, brands that you've now found. And it is just about the best thing in the world to be able to connect like-minded people who like style, people who, want to shop small, want to shop minority and women-owned businesses. So that's what I do. And we're working on the holiday box right now. We just finished fall season and it was our biggest season ever. We had to release a whole second wave, which we've never had to do before. So that just makes me feel so good that we're connecting with the people who are looking for us and that there really is, I think, especially during, quarantine and, the new social distancing and people are staying a little closer to home. I think there is a big need to still feel like you're experiencing things and you're out in the world. So for us to be able to bring the South to you until you can get out there and experience it again for yourself, I think it's really resonated with a lot of people.
That's so fun. I love it.
So tell us how you find the women that you collaborate with. What is your process for going out and sourcing it? Lauren and I received the fall box, y'all, and
it's awesome.
It's so amazing. And the thing that I loved about it was because it's like you receive it and then you feel in the know. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like you always see somebody with the cool necklace, which we want to ask you about your necklace in a little bit, but you see people with things and you just love to be the one that's like, oh, have you not heard about them? This is, so and so. And it's so fun to know that. So how do you find the people that you collaborate with?
All right, so that has evolved in the last 5 years. I think we've all talked about this before, how Instagram and social media in general is just the great leveler of the playing field. So here I am, just this little, individual person over here in Atlanta. And yet when I go on social media, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, Pinterest, I can source things from all over, and I can usually DM somebody, and that tends to be the person who is the founder or creator or in charge of marketing or whatever. And it's been so cool to be able to reach out directly to folks that way. So, a lot of it is visual, just kind of scanning on Instagram and seeing things that I like, and then saying, oh my gosh, that's made in Louisiana, that's the South, and then reaching out. Another great way has been through conferences or organizations like the Wealth Edit or the Southern Sea, to be able to be in a room with people or in some kind of a Zoom room, and say, well, what do you do? And then they tell you, or that, you compliment something they have on. They're like, oh, actually, I designed these scarves or what have you. So my eyeball is always open, and I'm seriously the best wingman that you ever want, because I'm the first person to walk up to somebody and be like, earrings, tell me, where'd you get them? I love them. And I found that, being in my mid 40s, there was just a lot of stuff out there that I was seeing, especially in like a box field, like beauty boxes or food boxes, subscription boxes. And it felt like it was being kind of like, I would say, it still resonated with me, but it really felt like it was being marketed to about 10 years south of where I am. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I thought, well, I've got money. Money's going to be our topic today. Yeah. And I would assume that other people in their 40s and 50s also find themselves with a few hundred here and there every once in a while. And so I wanted to put together a collection of items that were kind of leaning into that next chapter where, you're educated, you've traveled, you like nice things, you've decorated your home, you've got older kids, you know maybe more about your own sense of style. And so as things popped out to me, whether it be, certain type of candle and packaging, whether it be a necklace, what have you, I thought, okay, well, let's see if there are other women out there, put the little bait on the hook and cast the line. And I think fall, like you said so well, it really was it was probably the first time I think our brand has come together in just the perfect, from packaging to what's inside to the way that we marketed it. We're really finding our stride.
Yeah. Well, I love too, like how I use the box. I don't know how you're supposed to use the box, but like we did send a box to our friend in England. So that was really fun. Yeah. And Weena got a Southern Girl box. We thought that was so much fun. So you can send like a box to somebody, but then I've used boxes, like I'm kind of like a skincare hoarder. Like I don't care what you put on your face. My theory is that like it just has to stay.
Just keep it juicy
at all times. But anyway, but it's like I will often, it kind of like takes the guesswork out of like giving a little gift. Like if you're going to a little party or like you need your friend's having a little birthday, like I just like to pull a box apart and like tell the story of each of the little stories in the box. So I just think it's so fun. You can use the box.
That's a great way to use it. And I have people who buy them and then they'll buy one for themselves and they'll buy a second one and they'll put it in the gift closet because they can pick it apart and give the little items. I think one of the reasons the fall box was so popular, it was probably the highest number of items we've put in one season. So we put, I think it was like 11 items, 9 items from 11 states or 11 items from 9 states, something like that. And I think that is a lot of fun. The psychology of it was really cool for me because I'm the kind of girl, in the beginning, I thought I'd rather have 2 or 3, higher ticket items that are in the box and versus having like 10 or 11 things that are ranging in price range. But I was wrong. People really like having that a lot of assortment, and like knowing to connect with people and realize that this gorgeous, sophisticated candle that you are enjoying, Palmetto Pumpkin was in our fall box, is made in Charleston, South Carolina, and is made by, a lovely candle company that honestly could hold itself head high in Paris. I mean, the packaging, the fragrance. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun to try to find new people to connect with and also new folks to be in the box. So if anybody ever wants to hit me up, I'm just the most eager beaver to check my DMs. And I love it when somebody says, hey, have you heard of this in my hometown? Or, I've been using this for years. And you talked about the skincare. We put some skincare serum in our luxury box. We have a $250 luxury box, and this is hilarious. So I did not realize that it was like had so much vitamin E on it that when you put it on, you looked a little kind of oompa loompa. And I'm like slathering it on because I'm like, if it says 3 drops, I'm like, why not 30? You know, like putting it in and like rubbing it all over. And I left the house and I got in the car and I was like, I suppose this is why this is called Midnight Recovery Sleeping Oil. They're trying to tell you like in every word not to wear it outside. But anyway, it was so much fun. And that was Jules and Esther, and that's another Southern company. So I feel like I'm, you got to keep me back on path because I'll keep talking about all the things.
No, you're doing great. And one thing else I wanted to ask was a lot of it from your website and just talking to you previously, a lot of what your profits you give to a different charity. How do you?
That was one of the pillars. We talked about, I started this in my 40s and I'm just I'm in a place of gratitude. I think more so now, I'm not saying it's universal that it's your 40s, but for me personally, I really stopped hustling. And I started feeling grateful, and it's funny when you do that, it's like the universe brings to you in a wonderful way. It's been my experience. So I wanted to show my kids who are now older teenagers, I wanted to do it for myself. I wanted to do it for our family in general, that we give back as a family. It's one of the big things that we just feel so strongly about. In the business model that I have is 20% back to nonprofit, and it changes. It's usually women's and children's and education related nonprofits. So when someone buys a box, and we just started this with fall, you can designate where you'd like your money to go. And it's not anything that you're paying on top of your item. It's actually built into our price. So we are giving of our profit back to a nonprofit, but you get to tell us where you'd like it to go. And we give you some suggestions that are education or pet related, but you can choose where you'd like it. So I think that is something that everyone has a heart of gold. It's not that we don't all want to give. It's just that maybe you get a little bit caught up in just, you got to get this and you got to do this and you got to be at work and you got to cook dinner. And it just doesn't become part of your consciousness every day. But if you buy from us, you can know that you're doing what you want to do and what maybe you need to buy a gift or whatever. We're making it turnkey for you to give. And I think that a lot of the folks that we work with who we feature in the box, and it's interesting, we should talk about this. I'm not sure if this is a small business or an entrepreneurial commonality, but a lot of folks that we work with also give back. So I really, I've dug deep on that when I'm laying in bed at night thinking, okay, we're giving back of our profits, and then the people that we've bought the product from are also giving back. So I think about all the good that this box does for other people, and it's awesome. It's such a feel good.
That is so cool. Well, okay, this is switching gears a little bit, but you had a 25-year career in PR. Is that right?
Correct.
So exciting.
I started when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
And yeah, exactly. Us too. So, just like, what would you count as some of your biggest wins? Like, I think that sometimes as women, we don't take time. Like, I know that I'll like make a goal for myself, and by the time I get there, I'm like on to the next goal. Like it's like I like just fly right over it without even saying like, wow, you know what, like that was really great. And I need to just like, kind of to your point about gratefulness, like sit there for a minute in that space and like really talk about the fact that like, I don't know, it's just I can almost not articulate it because I don't do it. And like, so we want to learn from you about how to do that.
Well, you picked the wrong person, but thanks for asking. I'm terrible at it too. I'll tell you, it's funny. I was just thinking about this when you were setting up the question. You know how guys have like, well, I say guys, but you know how people have brag walls? Like you'll walk in their office and it's all there. I've been in this magazine, or here's a plaque I got from whatever. And I don't really know a woman who has one of those. I think that's why I said guy. Like we don't stop. I don't think we can afford to stop because we're just constantly chugging along. But that's a great point. When I started the business about 5 years ago, I had a folder where like, if I would get featured in someone's blog, or, if I created a piece of collateral material, I wanted to have just kind of an unofficial scrapbook, or just memories that I could say, oh yeah, look what I did, because of exactly what you said. I had a feeling that years would go by. Well, I hoped the years would go by, and here I am 5 years in, and that would be at at the least, a great way to reflect upon where I've been and where I'm headed. Because as we know with business, as y'all know with the Wealth Edit and starting that, it's never what you set out for it to be, right? So I think, two of my things I'm most proud of, wins in PR and marketing. I think one would be the amount of nonprofit work that I've been able to do. And that is 100% because I've got wonderful family structure and an amazing partner who values that also. And that's been probably the thing I'm proudest of. And then I've started, I can't believe this, 2 businesses, and I'm just me. Like, I mean, I do online banking, and that's like about the extent of my business acumen. I did not go to college for business. I went for communications. And the fact that I've launched 2 businesses and that, they've sustained and that they've helped other people, that I've worked with brands like Saks Fifth Avenue. I'm their Atlanta ambassador. That I've worked with the Four Seasons Atlanta. I'm their Atlanta ambassador. That I've worked with Marriott. That I've worked with Lincoln Motor Cars. That I've worked with the Steeplechase of Charleston and Bentley. A lot of those luxury brands. When I wrote out a list the other day, I was trying to think about, well, should I put this kind of stuff on the website? Some people, when they see that, they're like, oh, okay. I didn't know her before, but if she's worked with these brands, then it makes me feel better about trusting her with our project. And it was a pretty hoity-toity list. And it made me feel really good about, like we talked about earlier, about being in a certain chapter of your life and really leaning into that and not trying to skew younger by 10 years. I mean, saying, I embrace this beautiful age. I mean, whenever you look in the mirror and you say, oh my God, like that mascara is not working for me anymore. And or Facebook's like, hey girl, look at this picture from 3 years ago. And you're like, hey, that was 10 pounds ago. Yeah. I think we also need to give ourselves the grace to know, and this is true, you will never look better than you do right now. You look back in 5 years and be like, I wish I looked like that girl. Why was she so insecure or worried about it? Yeah. So leaning into that and embracing that and going full speed ahead into some of the luxury brands or some of the branding that women our age, maybe late 30s to mid 50s are resonating with. That's been a big win, personally, being able to
it's a big win.
Those brands, yeah, and speak for our generation.
Yeah, that's a huge win. You mentioned your support system and your having a supportive spouse and how important that's been. Has that always been a part of y'all's relationship, or was it something that you had to work at?
No, I am very, very fortunate in that it has always been a part of our relationship. I think the funny thing about it is what my husband does for a living is coaching executives and, helping with placement and then helping with organization and strategy and boards and that sort of thing. When I was working for another company, 25 years ago, I went to him and said, okay, we were dating at the time. I was like, okay, I think I want to put my toe in the water, step out, do my own thing, but I'm just not really sure what that's going to look like. And I really could use your help because you know me better than anybody, and this is what you do for a living. He was so bad at it that, I went out and had to buy a book about my parachute color and everything. I was like, you know what? I love you so much, but clearly the cobbler's kids have no shoes. So we stopped talking about like that because I was like, how is it that you can tell all these other people? He's like, I don't know. I'm just so close to you. But what he gives me in spades is the support and the latitude to try. He never shoots down any of my harebrained schemes or ideas. I'll come to him and say, I really think that Southern Girl needs to go into private gifting and do this. And he's like, sounds great. And I think it's awesome because he knows I'll come back to him and I'll challenge him with, well, what do you think about it? And we'll get a little deeper. But his first knee jerk is always, I love it. You should go for it. And that's so great. I don't know. Honestly, I'd like to think that I have like this personal internal resolve that I would do it anyway, no matter what the odds, but I don't know because I've never been tested by that. I've fallen on my face. Let me just say, like, I have put things out on Instagram. I've pointed my path. I'm like, I'm going that direction. And then like 2 or 3 months later, or a year later, that has fizzled. That was that bombed. And I just pivot, like we all love that word, pivot and do the next thing and count on, you know, the fact that nobody's paying that close attention, that they're like, wait, girl, you said you were going to be doing this and now you're doing that. So, you know, he's been with me through the highs and lows of that. And he's poured himself 2 fingers of bourbon and sat down on the floor and put my boxes together, hundreds of them at a time. He's gone to the storage area with me. I mean, just physical stuff that he's done in addition to the team spirit. And I hear him tell people what I do, you know, and it's adorable. It's trying to hear him articulate it, but he always says it with such pride. And that is such a great feeling to know that he's proud of what I'm doing. And that he's paying attention, and that he just wants me to feel happy. And like, I want him to feel happy in what he's doing and fulfilled. So.
Well, I think marriage is just, it's a tough relationship for everybody. I mean, it's just complicated. Sure. I loved what you said the other day. You're like, well, you just keep plugging along until it gets fun again. And like, I thought that was so good. And I know that there are, like, let me say this by saying, like, there are a lot of marriages that don't go all the way for multiple good reasons, like really great reasons why. But I think one thing, again, like going back to being women and like not celebrating the things that are really great. Like if we have a friend that has a really great marriage or it looks like that, like we need to say like, that is so awesome. Like, tell me what you're doing. And, you know, it really is going to stick with me, I think, forever when you're like, yeah, we just keep going until it gets fun again. Like, I mean, that's a great way to kind of like plug along when you've been with someone a long time.
Well, and that's exactly kind of my mantra, whether it be in marriage, whether it be in business, whether it be in building wealth. You're not always going to do everything well, or you're not always going to be proud of everything you do, or you're not always going to be in sync with all the different things, whether that be your partner or your product or, you know, your spending. I think the difference between JV and varsity, if I have to say, the women who like get to the ripe old age that I am, is that you realize that it really isn't a sprint. You know, it is, it's okay to not be happy. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. It is okay to not be happy. It is okay to not feel fulfilled in the moment. It is absolutely when the best things in life can come your way, that you draw them to you, is when you're a little agitated and out of sorts. Not when you're necessarily gliding along and you're hitting every pace. It's when you're a little bit uncomfortable with that relationship or the number you see in the bank or, you know, the sales for that month. That is when you have an opportunity to grow and to be extra creative and to think about what it is that you can control to make yourself feel better about those. And usually that's improving a process. I have been married for 20 years this year. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't trade a year. I wouldn't trade a millisecond with anybody else. They haven't all been, I mean, yes, on the whole, I mean, you just heard me like do a verbal love letter to my husband, and that is true. I have put him through the paces and he has put me through mine in ways inadvertently, you know. We just, we don't give up. I mean, you know, we're not always, I mean, usually it comes in little blips of time. It's not an enduring thing. And it's because one of us is just, you know, when you're together with that long with somebody, you're growing in one direction, they're growing in one direction. You have to kind of remember the greater good. But at the end of the day, we share the same values. At the end of the day, we respect each other, and we don't ever talk to each other disrespectfully or, you know, do things that are intentionally harmful to the other person. And we love our kids and we love our cats and our house. And so, you know, not to get so heavy, like, but you have to really think about that, because we're in such an age right now. You know, if it takes longer than 3 seconds for a website to load, I'm like, come on, time's a ticking. And so we're in this instant gratification where we expect to be happy and entertained and catered to every minute. And I just feel bewildered for the generations behind us who that's been their only experience with life. But we have to remember that patience and sometimes just waking up and doing the right thing, going to bed and doing that repeat will lead you to the happier place in your business or your wealth or your relationship. Mm-hmm. Gosh,
It's
Yeah.
so
that's
true.
deep
'Cause it
thoughts with
applies.
Southern Girl right there.
I like
Right.
that.
And it
I like
applies across the board to everybody. I mean, no matter what you're doing, even if you're in junior high and doing, life, that's just a dream.
Yeah, that would be right. If I could write that letter to my 7th grade
Yeah.
self who wasn't invited to sit at the popular girl table.
Yeah.
But then when I'd be like, I don't need you, then they'd invite me and I'd be like, I'm back on the hook. Like if I could tell that girl, I would be like, thank God, Ashley, you did not peak in high school or middle school. Like, I mean, that is not when you want to be your best self. And again, just it comes back to, I think, knowing that it comes back to just loving yourself. And we're not always great at that as women. And we could go off on tangents about body image and about, a myriad of things. But, and I struggle with that. I mean, I got the worst haircut at the start of COVID. I mean, you don't even know. I was literally like, this would have taken me to my knees about 10 years ago. But now I'm like, it'll grow back. I'll pull it back in a tiny little squinchy clip until it does. And just kind of coming to that place where I'm thinking more about like, how can I build my business? How can I grow? How can I give than about myself? I think that sometimes when you look in the mirror too much, or when you think too much about am I happy? Am I happy? Am I happy? I mean, like we were joking when we had our pre-call for this talk about like, well, if he's making meth in the bathtub or beating you up, get out. I mean, obviously like we say, you got to take care of you and your family and health and safety, number one. But I mean, if it's just a little something here or there that's getting under your skin, talk about it, laugh about it. Oh my God, laugh about it. Laughter is probably the thing that has been in my marriage, the thing that has kept us going. I mean, what did they say? Gallows humor, like where you laugh at things that are just so bad that you just like, let's make a joke about it. Yeah.
We did that yesterday. Yeah. We had to actually physically get up from a meeting, and leave. And this guy in our office just had to carry us because we could not.
I'm the worst too. I always laugh at the most inopportune times, but it really has. It's kind of been my saving grace, actually.
I kind of knew I loved you, but now I understand why. Yeah, that's it.
I can tell y'all that.
What's the alternative? Get the heck out of bed. What is that quote? Is it Marilyn Monroe or Liz Taylor? It's like, put on your damn lipstick and just get up and and every day just keep going. I mean, in business and relationships and wealth, people only fail if they stop. I mean, every day you wake up, you have a new opportunity. I mean, and I don't mean to sound like Tony Robbins at you, but I mean, you have a new opportunity. It's a new day. Just do something different than you did yesterday, for the love of God. And don't take it all so seriously, and realize that like one decision or one day is not charting your course, is not defining who you are. You do that for yourself every day. You do that with your relationship. And anyway, I hope I'm going to actually watch this video every day and remind myself that I'm so wise. Well, I forget it too.
One of our good friends here told me one time, in like a moment that was just kind of a bummer. She's like, it's just never too late for a do-over. And it's just true. Like, it's just never too late for a do-over.
Who makes the rules? You make your rules, truly. And you're right about that. So, what is that whole thing about, like, make yourself crazy if you are trying to control those 7th grade girls at the lunchroom table, you're never going to control them, right? Like if there are definitely forces beyond our control. So all that we can impact is kind of how we frame things. If you find yourself kind of cycling through that, like, negative self-talk, or I don't know, remember Debbie Downer, if you're kind of doing that, and I'll just be like, that is not who I want to be. I don't want to sit next to that girl at a dinner party, or I don't want to have cocktails with that girl. I'm just going to change it, and I do believe that the energy that we put out in the world is the energy we attract. And so, like you just said, just stop. If you find yourself, like we all do, that's completely normal, getting into that little rhythm, then just make a conscious effort to like close that chapter, move on. And I think it'll become a habit across time. But if you can't, then just find yourself a good group of friends, like the Wealth Edit, that will
kick your butt,
jerk a knot in your chain. Exactly.
That's right.
Well, okay. So just in the interest of time, in closing, we like to ask everyone that we have on, what attracted you to the Wealth Edit? How did you connect with the mission of the Wealth Edit? And
That
why
girl,
did you get
that
so
girl.
It's
Those two lovely ladies in my little square. I would say, well, two things. One is I've always wanted to be in a book club, but I'm the worst about I love to read and I listen to books all the time. But the minute you tell me I have to, there's like some little rebel inside of me that was like, screw you, I'm not doing that. So I never really stayed with that. I tried to be in a Bible study, but the time didn't work out for me. I got invited to a wine club, but I don't know, I didn't like one of the girls. Like no clubs have ever really worked out for me. And this one I thought, okay, this is great because, I really should get my butt in gear knowing about my, I guess, assets, my wealth, or just what's important to me. I've never really stopped to define that and to think about the why behind why I'm working or what I'm trying to build besides I got to write the tuition check. So all of that was I felt like it was going to uncover this mysterious new part of myself. And then I met you girls and I loved everything that I was seeing ahead of time. I love all your graphics, the illustrated style. I love the way you talk to me girlfriend to girlfriend, you're a Heidi. You are. And I was like, I am. And I just felt like it was so approachable and consumable for somebody who, like I said, was an English and communications major. And then I met you and you were so normal and like me, but better because you know all this stuff. And so I'm looking forward to meeting more girls who are in the same boat or different boats. Because I think we have a lot to share. I love the idea of the community that we're going to build together and that we're going to come out of it, like we just talked about, lifted up, and not feeling bad about things, but encouraged and inspired.
Mm-hmm. And we really do learn. I appreciate your kind words about that because what we are building, I mean, it really is, it's kind of like when you go to a good fun wedding, it's it's the guest list, it's the people there. And it's that's the exact same thing with the Wealth Edit. It's just a cool, fun group of women. And the more we engage with each other, the more we're going to learn from each other. And it's where'd you get that necklace, which we still have need to talk about real quick. And, it's like that, but with money. And that's even cooler because it's good for your soul. So anyway.
I mean, honestly, is there anything that a doctor's ever told you that was better than what a girlfriend told you? I mean, I'm the first one to be so I have this little spot. Can I show it to you? And they're hey, and I'm talking about a girlfriend, not a doctor. And then they're oh yeah, girl, I know what that is. You need to get this and this and this. I'm thank you so much. I don't want to run out of time before we talk about the necklace. So should I do it really quickly?
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Okay. It's been a heck of a year, ladies. So I decided in the holiday box that we needed to present our Southern girls with something that was going to really just put them inside a sparkly bubble of love and protection and good fortune. And what better way to do that?
Out of your time.
All right. So I built this necklace. I literally designed this baby and I actually should have added that to my list of things I'm proud of. It is a heart for love, because I love you so much. It is this fun little charm here that's got all of those symbols that are protect you, evil eye, great gold, because I feel like gold will bring you good fortune. And I designed it so all of these little rings here are springy and you can add your own charms, you can change it up. And we're going to add to it going forward. So every box going forward is going to have a little charm that you can link up here or link down here or however you want to do it. But when you put it on, it's we're part of that sisterhood, right? Of community. And I care about you and all the beautiful things that are coming out of the South. And blessings to 2021, everybody.
That's so awesome.
I love it.
You can get it if you buy the holiday box. It'll be part of the holiday box.
That's awesome. And does anyone have any questions for Ashley before we go? We could truly talk to her for 5 hours, and we have in the past.
I mean, we'll just move this into mimosas and then Bloody Mary, and then
Well, we're gonna bring her with us on the road at some point, so you'll meet her in person.
We're gonna bring her. I've already called that. I think when you were telling me about going to New Orleans, I was like, great. What time do we leave? We get this back. Is it gonna be rainy?
The question we got is, can she be our new best friend? And to that, I just say yes.
Okay, of course I can be your new best friend. Everybody can sit at my table at the lunchroom. It's big enough for everybody.
That's so awesome. All right. Thank you so
Ashley.
much, Ashley, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Mwah. Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you.